On episode 295 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, I introduced the Wellness Roadmap. This is part one of a 5-part series. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/295. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. I'm your host, Alan Meisner. I'm an NSAM certified personal trainer with a specialization in corrective exercise and fitness nutrition. Let me be your coach as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Hello, and thank you for being a part of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast. Today I'm going to start part one of a 5-part series I call the Wellness Roadmap. Now, thinking back on this year and thinking about all the different episodes that we had, and I'm coming up on episode 300, and I was thinking what was something I could do kind of special for an episode 300, and it really hit me that, there's a lot of information out there, and there's a lot of episodes that I really enjoyed. There's some that I know the information is just priceless. And so it was really hard for me to think back and think, well, which episodes would I pick? Which ones would I think were the most valuable? And it was just too hard to pick one of my babies and say these are the best of the best. I mean, there are some that I obviously really did enjoy and really got a lot out of. But I just decided instead of doing something like that, I would introduce this new concept that I'm kind of coming up with. Because over the course of the year, as I was looking back, I got to questioning, am I really giving you something concrete? Am I giving you something that you can actually use day to day that's going to get you where you want to go? Or am I just stirring up the muddy water? And I don't want to be a part of the problem of too much information or too much going on. I want to simplify this as much as possible and give you a way to get where you want to go on your health and fitness journey. And that's where the concept of the roadmap came up. Now, we're a little older, so we obviously remember when all of our trips were done utilizing an actual paper map. You can still find those. I walk through service stations and occasionally I'll see that rack with the atlases there. And if you recall before, when we were going to take a trip, particularly a long trip to an area we haven't been before, we'd often get out a red pen and we'd take and mark our route where we were going to do on our little roadmap. And so that's kind of what I want to help you prepare for your next trip by creating your own roadmap. And so that's what this series is really going to be all about, is how do we create a path? How do we know we're going in the right direction to get where we want to go? Because if you want to drive from Pensacola to Washington, D.C., that's a very different route than if you want to go from Pensacola to Houston. And so understanding where you want to go is going to give you a better understanding of when you're on the right path and when you're not. Now, as you know, things have advanced, and now most of us have GPS in our cars. We have GPS on our phones. So the first part of this whole roadmap is to set our GPS. So I still call it a roadmap. You're going to see a map on your GPS, but we're going to actually set a GPS. And that GPS is going to be kind of our common ground of where we're going to constantly go back to if we have to reroute, if we have to rethink. We're going to go back and rely on the things we did as a part of setting that GPS to make sure that we get us back on track. And I know if you've used your GPS, occasionally you're driving down the road and the voice will say, make a U-turn, or sometimes there'll be traffic, and if your GPS is smart enough, it's going to tell you a detour route that will get you there faster. And so that's why we're going to take the time on the next episode to set our GPS and use that GPS throughout our journey. On episodes 297 and 298, I'm going to have to break the next part, streets, into parts. And so there'll be 2 parts where we'll talk about the journey. We'll talk about the things that you'll personally need to do to learn, to get yourself in the right space, to get the right sleep, to deal with stress, to train, to do all the things that you'll need to make sure that you're getting where you need to get. And so we'll take you on this journey as you have your GPS set, and as you build and do your own thing. I'll give you all that you'll need to kind of take and build that all together. And then the final question comes up is, what happens when you are getting there? So maybe you decided you wanted to run a 5K, and you are running a 5K, and you get it done. What's next? So on this 5-part series, we're literally going to go front to back, and we're going to talk about setting your GPS. We're going to talk about the journey, and then when you've met that goal, when you've met that initial goal, what's next, and how do you set yourself up for success after that? Because we don't want to go back to where we were. So I hope you'll enjoy this series. I know this is a shorter episode, but I wanted to come in and kind of introduce this concept of the wellness roadmap so that all this would kind of rope in and make sense. And I had too much to break it into just 1 or 2 episodes. So I really wanted to break it into a 5-part series, offer it to you this week, the week before we get into the new year. And I do hope that you'll take and listen to each of these in sequence so that you'll kind of see how you can put together a plan for 2018 that guarantees you're going to be successful. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we discuss the Wellness GPS. Until then, have a happy and healthy day.